Hey there, Sarah Graddy here. Today we're going to begin our built-in I-cord for my Cozily Ever After pattern. And this I-cord will surround all four sides of the blanket. So we will begin our I-cord using Judy's Magic Cast-On, do a short setup for the I-cord cast-on, do our I-cord cast-on, and at the end of the row we'll do a few short steps to turn the corner of our I-cord. So let's get started. So here we are. We're going to start our I-cord with Judy's Magic Cast-On. And this I-cord is going to be built in all the way around our blanket. So we're going to use this really cool cast-on, Judy's Magic Cast-On, to get it started. So we've got our circular needles with our needles facing to the left, parallel, and we've got a slip knot in our left hand. Now we're going to put the slip knot over the back needle, the one furthest away from us, and give it a little tug. And then we have our tail, and we don't need much because we're just going to get 6 stitches out of this. So let's grab the tail yarn with our index finger, and then we're going to grab the working yarn, the other side, with our thumb. And then we're going to take turns loading up the needles. And we're going to load up the front needle with our index finger, and we're going to load up the back needle with our thumb. So we already have 1 stitch on the needle because of that slip knot, but we're going to do one on the front. So let's take our index finger yarn, and we're going to come around the front of the needle. Okay. Now we're going to do one on the back. So take your thumb yarn and go through the middle and around the back. Okay, so we still have our yarn oriented that way, and we're going to do another one with our index finger around the front needle, and then we're going to do our thumb around the back needle. Okay, so now we have 3 stitches on the back needle and 2 stitches on the front. So we need 1 more on the front to make 6. So we're going to use that index finger 1 more time to go around the front needle. Okay, so there we are. We have our 6 stitches, and we are ready to do our setup for our I-cord cast-on. And all we need to do in this stage is just make a little bit of extra I-cord so that the I-cord wraps around the corner a little bit easier. So we've got our 6 stitches that we did from Judy's Magic Cast-On. And so we're going to take our front needle and just pull it out. Hold on to that tail though, so it doesn't go anywhere. Hold on to the tail. And then I want you to put your needle in, and you're going to take your working yarn now and start to knit. We're going to knit 3. This is a little bit tricky because you don't have very many stitches on the needles. But you've just knit 3. And all you're going to do is slip those 3 stitches back onto the left needle. Okay. So now we have them back on the left needle, and as you can see, there's just a tiny little bit of I-cord that has been started, and this is going to wrap around your very first corner. And now we are ready for the actual I-cord cast-on. To do this step, the steps are knit front to back, knit 2, slip the previous 3 stitches back on the left needle, and do the same thing over and over again. So let's knit through the front loop, and then knit through the back loop, and you just made a stitch, so this is a 1 stitch increase. And now you're going to knit 2. So knit 2. So now you have 4 stitches on the needle. Now you're going to slip the previous 3 stitches back onto the left needle, leaving that other 1 stitch there. And that 1 stitch is going to become a body stitch that goes across the length of your blanket. So we're going to do that all over again. We're going to knit front to back. Through the front loop. Okay, now through the back loop. Now we're going to knit 2 again. Now we're going to slip the previous 3 stitches back onto the left needle. And again and again. And we're going to do it all again. Let's do it one more time just to really ingrain it. Okay. Now we're going to keep going and going and going. So you actually need 216 body stitches for the Cozily Ever After blanket, my pattern that I've designed. And so you need to cast on a whole lot more stitches where this came from. So I'm going to knit some stitches until I get to the end of a row. I'm not going to knit on 216. You can do that, but I'll meet you at the end of the row. So go on and cast on the rest of your stitches, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. And I'm back. So as you can see, I've used the I-cord cast on to cast on a lot more stitches onto my needle. And you've probably got a lot more stitches than I do here because you're making a blanket and I'm just doing a demo. But it's still really the same thing. So first I'm just going to pull this cord through so that those 3 original stitches from Judy's Magic Cast On are part of the line of cast on stitches, and I've got 3 over here because our steps were knit front to back, knit 2, and then slip the previous 3 back on the left needle. So that's really where I'm at. And so all I'm going to do is add a little bit of extra I-cord to go around the corner because this is the corner of the blanket. So I'm going to knit 3. Instead of doing the knit front to back again, I'm just going to knit 3. So here's 3. So this adds a little bit more I-cord without adding to the length of the blanket. So I'm going to slip those 3 back onto the left needle, and then all I'm going to do is take my yarn from the back and pull it around the front in between those 3 stitches and the rest. And then I'm going to slip these 3 back on the needle. So as you can see, I've got my yarn popping out the front, but now when I turn my needle over, the yarn's coming out the back now, and I am ready to start row 1 of my blanket.